In today's video, we'll look into a scenario in which China goes to war with all of Asia. And can China win, or will they lose? East Asia, South Asia, Central Asia, North Asia, Siberia, because we got rid of what was in Asia. Yeah, so Russia's really nothing. We got Mongolia, we got South Korea, Japan, India. They're the strongest nations here, along with Turkey. They're all in the top 10. So, well, quickly, we could see China start two fronts first. Down into the Korean Peninsula, because chances are they can take it out, and into Mongolia. And quickly, they move through North Korea, and they also take Vladivostok, probably the only major city left in what's left of Russia. And they manage to seize the Korean Peninsula. With them quickly taking Ulaanbaatar, there's a quick surrender of Mongolia, with this front going like this. And then they start another front over in this Central Asia, which is another area they think they can quickly take on. And they start one in the northern India, as India is not ready yet. They move into Taiwan, Vietnam, and Laos. Not Taiwan. Now they move into Taiwan. And then in through the Philippines. Right now, they're the ones probably going to win. But that could change with them moving into Russia. Siberia launches a counteroffensive into Mongolia and another one over in East Asia. And India launches two successful counteroffensives against China. But Siberia couldn't really do much, so they could just get pushed back. And well, now let's go back to the Central Asian front. Iran and Pakistan together launch a counteroffensive. Oh wait, Pakistan's also in the top 10. Top 10 list this year is a bit whack, in my opinion. But that's besides the point. As they manage to seize this. With their offensive into Indochina or Vietnam continuing to move south, with them landing some troops and taking some of Indonesia's islands. Yeah. And the rest of the world goes back to the normal green. That fast. Because it definitely wasn't a mistake. Definitely wasn't. With Japan holding its area, but Central Asia front is starting to move in towards not as much advance. With India launching an offensive into Tibet. Over here they move in. And here. Eventually they they move up to there over the course of a few months. And they're stuck there. And not much fighting is happening in that area as compared to the rest. And while an offensive with lots of troops are made into Vietnam and Laos, collapsing Laos and then Vietnam and then Cambodia and marching right into here. With a counteroffensive managing to happen here and one over here by Pakistan and Turkey's troops are now arriving. But Siberia is starting to get very weak. Like, its capabilities are getting very bad. So they start getting pushed back. And Japan decides to annex Sakhalin as this is going on. With Siberia surrendering. So China decides to quickly occupy these lands. The rest is still standing. But just because it's pointless to show they don't occupy that, we're just going to color it in. But remember, Siberia isn't fully occupied because it's kind of hard to hold that much land. And there's also pockets of resistance throughout, which this map doesn't really show. With them now moving in from their new troops into Siberia. And they also start conscripting in all lands they occupy. With an offensive by India being made into the Vietnam front, eventually stabilizing the front right here. with China headed towards victory at this point. As they start moving into Iran, a massive counteroffensive is done, which is a success. And while China does push them back, but I'm going to say this is not a success due to how badly it went. With them thinking about funding rebels in Xinjiang, but then they decide to have them funded along with a ground invasion as they move into this region. And a few pockets of resistance are happening over there. And protests are happening in Beijing, Shanghai, and all the other major cities of China. With Japan successfully landing in Taiwan and South Korea, with China realizing they're going to have to pull troops out of Indonesia. And they start moving them out. They get like 75% of the million station chances are in the Philippines. And well, 250,000 are captured or worse. With Japan launching a landing here. With the nations deciding to land troops into Japan. With fear of encirclement, troops are pulled out of this area of, those countries are liberated. And this chunk of Russia they left. They left this big of a chunk of Russia. But Russia, Japan makes another counteroffensive in just to decimate their areas of control. China getting pushed out of this area by Vietnam rebels. And while in this front, the offensives are really slow. As the months pass and more are moving into Japan from Turkey, Japan's at a few million. So they decide to take another counteroffensive here, which China's failing to push them back. They do manage to push back the Uyghur rebellion and invasion in this front, but that's about all. And I can barely see because the sun is in my eyes. That's just fun. And while Japan starts moving into Manchuria, which goes better than it should. And China's completely humiliated by this, and its people aren't happy. With Vietnam and the South Asian nations deciding they can do an offensive, and they move in to about here before China kicks them out. But guess what? Not fully, but away from the coastline. And while Japan decides to start moving troops into here, China got 2 million troops occupying Siberian lands. And only like 500,000 escape. The rest are cut off from the rest of China and unable to get back. And communications are quickly cut off between the two. Once that happens, well, China fighting in its land, it only has 5 million. So it decides complete conscription of anyone of fighting age. Anyone. Of fighting age and fighting ability. Fit for service, any of them are sent to war. But it's too late now because all their good equipment is like gone. Used up. And well, there's probably a big naval blockade blocking them off. And well, China's in a lot of trouble, especially when this area gets cut off. Japan starts an offensive with the help of Taiwan's people. And they quickly seize the coast of China because Chinese people start defecting towards the Republic of China forces as democracy rebellions break out. And now for the peace treaty. Oh yeah, Siberian troops are like, yeah, they go and occupy Siberia. Fully, Siberia's back, so let's see the peace treaty. It's not going to be the harshest peace treaty, so let's see it. There's Manchuria's created, except it lost land to Russia and North Korea. South Korea takes Sakhalin, and Japan takes this area. Vietnam takes some land, Myanmar, India, and Mongolia. Wait, I just went backwards. Yunnan is freed, Tibet is freed, Xinjiang is freed, and Manchukuo is free. And China is now rebuilding after this costly war that decimated the country. And that's all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Wild Mapper out, and until you subscribe. Bye, guys!